Healing doesn't mean the damage never existed. It means the damage no longer controls our lives. Ashke Dubé.
Welcome everyone to the Good Karma Success Coach podcast. My name is Melinda Van Fleet, and I am so excited this week to have special guest Christine Renee. She is a Reiki Master, teacher, and she is the founder of Reiki Cafe, and you can easily find her online. This podcast is jam full of information, and I definitely want you to pay attention when she starts talking about stubbing your toe and scraping your knee, because it really makes everything so clear. And it's such a great analogy. And also I like to say it's kind of like a fun fact or a nugget. So check out her Instagram, her Facebook group, and also her website. She has lots of fun stuff going on all the time. And as always, please share this with a friend or family member who you think would love this podcast. I always appreciate that. And you can feel free to connect with me on Instagram at Melinda_VanFleet. Email me at melinda@melindavanfleet.com, or check out my website, goodkarmasuccesscoach.com. I have a free little, I call it a personal challenge, because those are the things I worked on to get where I'm at. And then that leads you into my newsletter. So I would love to have you as part of my group and community. Thanks as always for listening. Enjoy. Hey, Christine, welcome to the Good Karma Success Coach podcast. I am so excited that you are on with me today. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
We probably have so much to talk about. We've already had a fun conversation prior to hitting record. So just really excited for you to share with the audience. Do you want to kick off with a little bit of your background?
Absolutely. I'd love to. So I am Christine Renee. I am a Reiki Master teacher, and I've been doing this basically my whole life in some form or another. My dad was doing Reiki when I was a child, and when I became an adult, I was introduced to Reiki at a birth center. So I was studying to be a student midwife and got my first level 1 and level 2 attunements way back in 2002, and it woke me up to my innate spiritual gifts again. I remembered having feelings as a child, hearing spirits, those types of things, and kind of suppressed it during most of my high school and middle school years. And then once I became an adult, it just turned right back on with Reiki and let that kind of lead my life and my journey. And so I became a Reiki Master in 2004. And for the last 4 years, I've been doing Reiki full time, both in the brick and mortar side and in the online space.
Wow, that's so cool. Can you share with the audience, just in case there's people out there that don't quite understand what Reiki is, and even if there's someone like me up until recently, like I understood the basic gist, but didn't really quite know like any history or where it came from. Just share a little bit in case someone doesn't know what Reiki is.
Absolutely. So Reiki is a healing modality that has came out of Japan in the 1920s. And Reiki is a form of healing where the practitioner receives divine love and light energy through their crown chakra. It then fills them up and then overflows out their hands. So this divine energy really can heal on whatever level the client or yourself needs it. So that's physical, emotional, or mental, spiritual healings that are needed. And so the lovely thing about Reiki is the practitioner doesn't need to diagnose or figure things out, because that divine consciousness, that part of Reiki, knows where it's needed, knows where it's to go. And so the practitioner's job is to open to their intuition and to lean into that innate guidance that's coming from Reiki, to know where to place their hands, know just feel into any messages or feedback that the client might need, and really let Reiki do the work. So this is a really beautiful practice, a very complementary therapy practice. So if you're already seeing a counselor, if you're already seeing a doctor, if you're already seeing other healthcare practitioners, this is a complement to that to expedite and speed up whatever is going on, whether it's emotional, physical, or spiritual.
Wow. And your story with your health challenges really does then coincide with what you just said. Like, please share, because I think your story of your journey, especially lately, is pretty amazing.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, which is an autoimmune disorder, kind of like cousins to Crohn's. Most people know what Crohn's is. And this affects the large intestine versus Crohn's that affects the small intestine. So I was diagnosed maybe 4.5, 5 years ago. And the biggest issue with that is that it's ulcers in your colon. And can be very debilitating, and and at that time I really was taking some big initiatives to work on my own self and healing and change from doing the 9 to 5 soul sucking job to pivoting into my own Reiki world, stepping into my truth and developing that side. And so when you do Reiki every day, you feel it. You feel good. It helps you in so many different levels, and it gives you that sense of well-being. And so I was practicing every day and really working on myself. Well, in that process, not only did I was able to get off all of my medications and really hit this point of equilibrium in my physical body, using Reiki, starting, meditation techniques and some other healing skills. But for the most part, it was Reiki every single day. And now recently I had a flare up. And so typically what that looks like for me is I might catch the flu, and the flu strips me of all of my good bacteria in my gut. And then I'm very vulnerable to getting a flare. So this happened this last winter. And I went out for Valentine's Day breakfast with my husband, and I ate one of my triggering foods, not realizing it was in the food I was eating. And so it kind of tipped me over the edge because I didn't have all of that bacteria balance going on in my gut, and things in my gut just kind of shut down. And this made me explore even more about, am I doing enough Reiki? Am I taking enough time for myself? Really at the core of it, I'm a businesswoman. I love doing Reiki. I love sharing Reiki in the online space and in the online world and doing webinars and all these things. And I'm a go-getter. And the biggest lesson I learned out of the last few months is it's okay to slow down and take care of yourself and put in these time rituals so that you can be really held in that space so that you're not rushing all the time. And so basically what we found out, I hired a health coach, and I was at the end of my medication that I still had from 4 or 5 years ago. And I said, well, I can spend the $1,000 on getting another bottle of pills that don't really work, or I can take this $1,000 and go find a health coach that can really get to the underlying issues. And so that's what I did. I invested in my health by hiring a functional medicine coach. And basically within a few weeks, she goes, this is something more than autoimmune. You've got something else going on. You've got parasites or an infection. You have something else that's really flaring this and promoting what's going on in your gut health. And we need to get to the bottom of it. So she recommended some testing, which I got done. And when I got them back, it showed that I had an E. coli infection, Candida infection, H. pylori. I mean, basically everything that could possibly go wrong in your gut, I hadn't, including I had no digest enzymes going on. Like my stomach acid wasn't producing to actually break down any food. So this last few months has been very difficult and debilitating. But, when you think about it, like when I looked at my labs, she really could see you've had these infections going on for a long time, probably years, probably a really long time. And I had to explain to her, because she was also new to Reiki. I go, well, that doesn't necessarily surprise me. Reiki will help me balance enough so that those symptoms of E. coli doesn't come to the surface. So I wasn't having massive fatigue. I wasn't having fevers. I wasn't having the typical symptomatic things out of these infections, because the Reiki was helping me stay in balance. And so that's why it was never caught by my GI specialists. And now she was like, she would give me an herb and my body would just take off with it in a significant way. I was pretty much in bed a good portion of May. And it was basically that Reiki was just helping expedite that healing process. So what normally would take someone maybe 6 months only took me a month. And so it was very fast. It was very fast to go from not having these infections and really releasing and ridding and shedding my body of all the things in my gut that wasn't needed. So I did a lot of purging, but it happened very quickly with the help of Reiki. So surprised the heck out of my health coach for sure.
Yeah, that's just amazing. What an amazing story. Can you explain, and I'm asking lots of questions here for my own education as well. So
Yeah.
I just think this is also fascinating. How do you do Reiki on yourself? So, and when you're talking about your own healing, is that what you did? Like you put your hands on yourself? Is that
Yes,
okay?
yes, absolutely. So basically, when you start Reiki, you're basically waking up your palm chakras by warming your hands up. And that's just kind of almost like telling the Reiki, okay, I'm ready to start practicing. So every day I would start out my day giving myself a little bit of Reiki in the morning. And then when I was sick, I was lying down a lot. Instead of watching television, I would be like, no, I'm going to be present in the moment and I'm going to give myself Reiki. So it's just, once again, the Reiki comes through you, through your top of your head at the crown chakra, fills you up, and then overflows out your hands. And instead of offering it to someone, I'm offering it back to myself. So I'm placing my hands on my belly and placing my hands on my heart and placing my hands wherever I feel innately like where I need it, and letting the Reiki do its work. And so for at least an hour a day, I was doing these Reiki sessions for myself. And everyone has this capacity. I really am a true believer that anyone and everyone can do Reiki. And so when you stub your toe, what's your first reaction? You want to grab your toe and put your hands around it. If you scrape your knee when you're out bicycling, you want to put your hands over the area that you hurt, because at one point in our evolution, long time ago, this was innate, that you could put your hands on yourself and let that healing energy flow. And we have forgotten that this is we have the capacity and capability of healing ourselves. So I feel like the Reiki attunements just makes it stronger and lets that energy come through a little bit more potently. And so every attunement you receive, you become a stronger wave of that Reiki flow of energy.
And can you describe what an attunement is, please?
Yes, it is the initiation process for Reiki practitioners from master to student. They initiate the student by allowing the Reiki and the Reiki symbols. So the Reiki comes along with symbols that empower the Reiki practitioner so that it can move through and within their chakra systems, within their body, so that they too can flow in this abundance more strongly.
Gotcha. And is that accomplished like through prayer, through meditation? Like how?
Well, these days, there's a lot of different ways to do it than originally back in the early 1900s. So you can do it in person, and that would be by having the Reiki Master place their hands in certain positions, blowing into their crown chakra to open that chakra up, and moving around the body so that you're placing the symbols in their hands and in their crown chakra. Now today, and this has always been the case, but it's being more utilized today, is what is called distance Reiki attunements. And so these distance attunements takes the physicality out of the way. So just as I can offer someone a distance Reiki session, Reiki can move beyond the time-space spectrum. Reiki can also move and be offered to an individual via distance, via online, so via a phone call. And basically, I'm envisioning my student in front of me. I am spiritually with them, using Reiki to bring me into this meditative state so that I can give them their attunement, even if I'm not physically present with them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. If you believe, it does to me, and just for the audience, and correct me if I'm wrong in saying this, but if for the audience, if you're someone who believes that, there's really no time, space, reality, right? Is that how?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so you're basically able to move um, through the boundaries of space, through the boundaries of time with Reiki. And that's why can be so powerful, because with all the chaos in the world, we can give Reiki to the world. We can give Reiki to situations. We can give Reiki to an individual on the other side of the world. I have clients currently all over the world, whether that's in Berlin or in Ireland or in just anywhere, and they can feel the effects and the power of both a Reiki session, or if they're taking a Reiki class, the Reiki attunement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm hearing more and more about it. My sister actually had asked me not too long ago what Reiki was, and I was able to, describe it in just simple terms, right? And
Mm-hmm.
she had said, oh yeah, because her friend or her friend's sister is a Reiki master, and she can do it virtually. So that was one instance that I had heard of. And then someone else I know, her dog had Lyme disease, and someone on a Zoom call said that she was a Reiki master and had sent some healing for her dog, and her dog is much better now. It's pretty amazing.
Yes,
So
I've worked on so many animals, and they've had such amazing transformations with their health. Like, I was working on a cat that was dying of a brain tumor, was receiving cancer treatments, radiation cancer treatments, and was only given a couple weeks to live. Well, through doing 2 sessions of Reiki a week, she lived for 6 additional months
wow.
until the owner was ready to release. And that was why, the cat was willing, on a spiritual level, was willing to live longer, support her owner longer, until the owner was ready to let her go. This was a cat that was like 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
And the brain tumor was gone. We healed the brain tumor, and then the cancer is just kind of popping up in different areas of the body. And I felt like I was chasing it.
Uh, wow. And were you able to recognize then that it was the owner that wasn't
Yes.
open to letting go yet?
Yes, absolutely. Well, and it was like I can have these conversations with the cat. The
Mhm.
cat, animals really don't have a deep psychology. What they feel is what they feel, and you can feel into it. And so I could tell that the cat knew that its purpose was to support its owner, and that and knew and was scared for the owner,
Yeah.
that the owner wasn't ready to let go. And so was willing to stay around longer until she was ready. And so at the end, it was more about, the cat really thinks the owner should be getting Reiki. And so asking the owner, I'm like, would you care for a couple Reiki sessions to help prepare you in this? And so really, with the cat support, doing Reiki sessions for the owner as well.
Wow. That's amazing. Fascinating. And I totally believe it. So I just, wow, that's really cool. Now, if someone were to want to learn, how would you, I know you have classes, so you're more than welcome to talk about that. And like, how long does it take? Like, give me a little bit of a process here.
Yes, absolutely. So there's a lot of different ways to get your Reiki training. I find that the most important piece is to make sure that you're going to have a relationship with the Reiki master. So if you're going to get more out of an individual class in a classroom setting, in a physical space, then do that. So this really is about your educational learning style and what are you going to get out of. But I really feel like the relationship with the Reiki master is vitally important. So I don't recommend weekend trainings off of Udemy. I feel like you need to have an experience and have a relationship built in some capacity. So basically what I offer is online classes via Zoom, and I offer classes in my local town for my locals. And when I'm doing an online class, it really is, I'm trying to mimic the same type of classroom, living room type feel setting for my students so that they can ask questions, that we can interact, that we can still practice on one another via distance Reiki rather than sitting together in a classroom. So I really feel like you should kind of seek out who's going to be willing to and available to answer questions, willing to set a private time for the attunement process and really have that explained to them so that they can feel it, and honor that time and that space for their attunement process to take place. Sometimes, especially in the Americas, we don't have an association that really sets standards for the US of A. Whereas in Canada, you have the Canadian Reiki Association. You can find who your really great teachers are. The European Union has numerous associations that are good. But America is like the US has, we have some issues because of capitalism. So you can just take about anything online and not really know what you're getting into. So I think the biggest thing is looking for a course, whether that's something sponsored by Reiki Cafe University, my school. Like I teach as well as I bring on other teachers that have been vetted. We recently had a class for the Holy Fire Reiki tradition. I've got a traditional Reiki Master teacher who's going to be coming on. I have Rainbow Reiki coming up this fall with Walter Lebeck. And so, I really honor the teachers that are taking the time to teach the classes. And a typical Reiki level 1 class takes anywhere between 6 to 8 hours. So anything less than that, you're probably not getting all of the information.
Wow.
And the way I like to teach is have a combination of pre-recorded material as well as these classroom settings. So instead of, you can listen to the lecture piece on history on your own time with the pre-recorded video, and then we can answer questions in the discussion of the classroom.
Oh, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing all of that. Yeah, because
Absolutely.
A lot of people, if they're, especially now, I mean, there's been a lot of discussion for the past few years, and you could probably even share more on that people are becoming more awake, right? To,
Yes.
everything.
Everything.
And, just like me wanting to find out more about Reiki, and then Regina introducing me to you, which I'm very grateful for. Like, this is just one other aspect of, becoming more awake, and how can you help others, and in your case, with your example, even help yourself, which, originally when I first heard about Reiki, I didn't know that at all. Like, I definitely only thought, you'd be helping somebody else. But even me doing your 14-day challenge, which definitely I want you to share with everybody, which is great. It's like 2 minutes, these awesome little videos that you're so good at. You're so wonderful. Your energy level is amazing. And the one from yesterday, I think it was day 7, days are flying by, was about practicing Reiki at night as you're going to sleep, which is really cool. Do you want to share about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Reiki can really work outside the box. Like, so many people try to make Reiki a certain thing, or any of the healing modalities, really try to contain it to what the parameters are and aren't. And Reiki is one of those that complement any healing modality. It complements just about anything in your world. And so you can integrate Reiki into all kinds of areas in your lifestyle. Whether you're choosing clothes, you can use Reiki to say, is this the outfit that's going to bring the best out of me? Or, really doing your healing work at different areas of your day, whether that's offering Reiki to your water and then sipping that water all day, knowing that you're getting the Reiki blessings from it, to learning how to go to bed at night, offering yourself Reiki and asking your guides, your spiritual helpers, to continue the session while you sleep. Now, I have been doing this for years, and I find it really fantastic, especially if you're the type of person who either has insomnia, has a really hard time going to sleep. This will help you fall asleep faster and get back into that normal range around 20 minutes. Or if you're the type of person that you hit the pillow and you fall asleep right away, that you can still have this intention of offering yourself Reiki and letting your guides do the rest. So I'm always constantly leaning in to my helpers to say, you do it. You do the heavy lifting. I'm setting up the space and giving you my free will recognition that I am open to receiving this love and light healing this night. Please continue to work on me. And they do. And so if I wake up in the morning or I wake up extra early and feel really full of vitality, I know that the Reiki was doing what it needed to do while I was sleeping. So it's really phenomenal. I love that you can just apply Reiki just to about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one thing too that I have really been working on is just asking more, asking my spirit team for help. And I love that. That's just like one more thing I can ask them to do. So
yeah.
I love
it.
And
when we ask, they want to help. They want to step into that space of helping. And until we really ask for it, that free will kind of is a barrier to them. So until we say, please help me, guide me, protect me, offer me your help and services or whatever it may be, they're on the sidelines waiting for you to say, please come help me. And this is very much an issue that has really developed over the last 100+ years, when we, especially Americans, are very independent. We want to succeed on our own. Asking for help from something we can't possibly visually see seems so outside of our comfort zone. And as we move into the spiritual era, as we move from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, this is going to feel much more comfortable, that we're going to feel that we can lean into and let what I call our heavy lifters do the work on our behalf, remove the obstacles in our path and in our way, so that we truly can stand in our potential, what we were here created to do, and letting them bring in those synchronicities, letting them help us meet the right people or bring us to the right opportunities to fully fulfill our destiny, our legacy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and you're so right. Since I've worked on getting better at this, like making it more of a practice, a habit, the results have been amazing, from just simple things to, if Ryan might be struggling with something, I'll even ask to help him. And, just a tip for anyone out there, if you're like me, who's just what Christine described, someone who's been always, taking care of everything for myself and that proud person of being able to do all that, right? I have a sticky note on my bulletin board that just says ask. And it's just a reminder to ask. And that helps too. So if you...
Yes, absolutely. We need reminders. We need some sticky notes or affirmations on our mirror going, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
And this is a challenge for me as well. Like I said earlier, I really embody that businesswoman, grounded, Capricornish, is my rising. And so I have a lot of earth energy that really wants me to be productive. I was raised to be productive, as many Americans are. Mm-hmm. And to slow down a little bit and ask for help can be a challenge. It can be one of those things that came out of our childhood where, we were kind of raised around being productive, not asking for help, getting things done. And we're in a shift. That it's now okay and welcome that we ask for help, not only to our family members, community, but also our guides. Yeah. And that's going to be a new way of doing, a new way of being.
Yeah. So true. So true. So if anyone out there ends up trying that, please feel free to email me that you tried it, or, DM me or something on Instagram. I would love to hear that you tried it or have been doing it. That's very cool too. So definitely let us know. Just want to talk a little bit about chakras, and then maybe that's something we can circle back on in a future episode. But
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you explain what chakras are? Just so, because you kind of talked about it a little bit in terms of Reiki and the healing and your crown and your hands. So just to.
Yes, yes, yes. So chakras translates from Sanskrit as wheel. And so these are energy wheels within the body. And there are 7 primary wheels, chakras, within ourselves. And so each of these chakra systems really are meant to flow easily and gracefully from one chakra to the next. And they really have a emotional component, a physical component, and a spiritual component. And so understanding the chakras is basically a roadmap to healing. So let's say that you have a physical condition and you know where it is in your body. Well, if you can relate that to what chakra does that area of the body relate to, then you can work on the emotional and spiritual components to heal the physical. And so I really feel like, and I'm sure you may have heard this quote before, the issues are in the tissues. And
Yeah.
so when we have emotions that get stuck in our body, it becomes a weak link in the chain. And those are the areas of our body that hold our ailments and our weaknesses. And when we suppress enough of the emotional side, then we end up having a physical representation of it. And this is our body trying to get our attention. We will have a feeling first. And once a feeling is suppressed over and over and over again, then the body will try to get our attention even more by developing a physical awareness, a physical illness, physical dis-ease, hyphenate the word, so that we can bring attention to the area to really start to ask, why do I have this ailment? Why did I break this bone? What's going on the emotional level that I need to look at still to fully heal the physical? And so the chakras are a really wonderful tool to understand where our emotional body is getting stuck and developing a physical ailment. And when we understand the chakras, then we have a map, a plan, and you can use all different kinds of modalities to help heal the chakras once you realize where the blocks are, where the imbalances are. And so you can start applying Reiki or doing acupuncture or doing a dance class or singing or all these different practices that can help bring certain chakras back into balance. So I feel like I should give you an example. A good example is, let's take sacral chakra, for example. Sacral chakra is this space between your pubic bone and navel that really is your creative center. It's your pelvic bowl. It holds all of the reproductive organs. And so physically, it's about creation. Emotionally, it's about creativity. And so when this chakra is open and flowing, you feel creative, you feel that you can express yourself, that all of your emotions are valid. And when that's out of balance, you might feel that you need to your emotions aren't valid. Like you have the person in your life or from your childhood trauma gets stuck here very often. Sexual trauma gets stuck here very often. And when you then become, your emotions aren't valid, you start to develop physical ailments in your reproductive system. So whether that's anything from PMS, endometriosis, if you're a man, prostate issues, et cetera, and going, okay, we understand that the trauma has been held here, this emotional baggage has been held here. How do we heal this? And instead of thinking it very linearly, maybe it's that you need to go join an art class or go hula hooping or work on some mandalas or bake in the kitchen or do something creative and crafty that helps let your sacral chakra be awoken again and heal. And so I really love the chakras because you're taking the backdoor approach to healing some of these underlying traumas.
Wow. That is very enlightening and makes me start to think about lots of different situations, makes you start to go, oh, I wonder if that's why I felt that way. That's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So Reiki is a really great way to tell which chakra may be out of balance.
Uh-huh.
And usually, depending on the Reiki master, the Reiki practitioner, they can kind of offer you guidance and advice regarding the chakras. Chakras are not a part of the Reiki system. It just happens to be one of a lot of Reiki practitioners' favorite topics because they work. It absolutely works if you understand the chakras, how you can apply it with Reiki. And so, I offer a chakra mastermind, which really is a 14-week program that we really dive into all of the chakras. Other practitioners might offer something called like a chakra analysis, where they're just scanning the body and seeing where the blocks are. And it's just really phenomenal to have this awareness, the self-awareness of going, oh, I can see where these two things are linked.
Yeah. And thank you for calling it out that Reiki and the chakras aren't necessarily
they don't necessarily go hand in hand.
Hand in hand. I wanted to say it that way, but yes, thank you. I was like, am I saying this the right way? So yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to have you back for a part 2 to talk more about chakras. Does that sound good?
That sounds wonderful. I'd love to come back on. Thank you.
Awesome. And I know I asked you if you had an affirmation to close with. So if you do, I'd love for you to share that, and then definitely share for how everyone should get in touch with you and connect.
Wonderful. So here's an affirmation. So if you've been listening to this, feel into it, take a few breaths and feel into, I am worthy of healing, transformation, and receiving abundance in my life. I am worthy of healing, transformation, and receiving abundance in my life. So I can be found at ReikiCafeUniversity.com. If you look me up under Reiki Cafe University, you're going to find me on Facebook, on Instagram. So feel free to follow me there. If you go to the website, you can get the 14-day Reiki challenge. You don't have to be a Reiki practitioner to participate. It's a really great way to learn about Reiki and to get some of the fundamentals to start your practice for 14 days. We do have the Chakra Mastermind coming up here in July 19th we start. So if you want some more information on that, definitely check me out on Facebook, Instagram, or the ReikiCafeUniversity.com.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much. I've learned a ton. I hope everyone else has too. And yes, just like you said, you don't have to be a Reiki master to do your 14-day challenge. So I'm in it, and I'm certainly at like ground zero. So, and I've learned a lot. So I encourage everyone to connect with Christine on that for sure too. So awesome. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a delight.
Yes. Fabulous. Thank you so much.